couple of years ago, I was driving through Arkansas and I happened upon one of the greatest crappie fishing locations I've ever been to. I just loved the place. Well, it's been a couple of years and I just couldn't stand it. It was always lurking in the back of my mind. So we're gonna visit it again. Coming up in the next half hour, great crappie fishing from a little known location in Arkansas. Fox Sports Outdoors is on the air right now.
You're watching the only program with weekly fishing reports and real-time outdoor news from the Southwest region. This is Fox Sports Outdoors.
Ever since I was a little kid and my family used to vacation in Eureka Springs, Arkansas, I've always held a warm spot in my heart for the Ozark and Ouachita Mountains. It's a breathtaking place to drive through if you've never done it. But now I have an even better reason to love this part of the state. It's got great crappie fishing. Now there's some famous lakes like Ouachita and Hamilton, the lakes everybody's heard of, but I'd like to welcome you in for only my second time to beautiful Lake Greeson. It's located just north of Murfreesboro, Arkansas, and it's home to some great crappie fishing. We're gonna be helped out this week by a good buddy of mine, Dustin Holmes, who guides here every day of his life. He knows all the hot spots and puts out a lot of brush piles. While we're out doing that, we're taking you around your local region for this week's fishing reports from our expert team of insider reporters from lakes, rivers, and bays, right where you live, both saltwater and freshwater. The next time you see me, I'll be out on Lake Greeson crappie fishing for great big ones, but right now, let's get things started back at the studio and your weekend planner.
These lunar tables are showing fair game fish activity on both days this weekend. The best times to be on the water are early mornings starting at 3:36 on Saturday and 4:31 on Sunday, or late afternoon starting around 4:01 on Saturday and 4:56 on Sunday. Look for the sun to rise at 7:36 and set at 6:51. Evenings will feature a moon that is 72% visible. Stick with us to check out all of the current fishing reports from throughout the area. I'll return with the 2016 Bassmaster Classic champion Edwin Evers on this week's Ask the Pro feature. We're coming right back.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Motor Guide's wireless and easy-to-use XI3. Waypoint Marine, the Gulf Coast's leading saltwater boating specialist. Strike King, tie one on. Nitro Performance Fishing Boats, because champions aren't born, they're made.
This is just one gorgeous place. There's a fish. And there is a starter. There's your beautiful Arkansas crappie right there. Hey everybody, we've made it out on beautiful Lake Greeson. This is just one gorgeous place. There's a fish. It's got a lot of fish in it. And there is a starter. Crappie. There's what we're fishing for, and he fell off right there, almost in the net. That's why you're supposed to use a net for crappie. But that's a good keeper to get it started. There's your beautiful Arkansas crappie right there. Well, so let me get you oriented here. Made it out on the lake. This is one of the most scenic lakes you'll ever find. Beautiful clear water, hardwood trees all the way around it, pine trees everywhere. The lake is about 7,000 to 9,000 surface acres, depending on the level of the lake. It is a flood control lake, so the water level does vary here quite a bit. It'll get down as low as like 5,000 surface acres when they're drawing it down. But then under flood conditions like we had last spring, it'll get up to 9,000 surface acres. And you can actually see from some of our aerial shots here that you can see where the old water level was, and you can see all that kind of bare rock ground between the trees and the water. That's kind of where the high water and the low water level is. It's a real rocky lake. There's not a lot of cover in it. There's not a lot of weed beds or standing timber, logs. The crappie don't have much to get on, so we're fishing artificial man-made brush piles. The lake level here at Greeson is drawn down far enough that some of these brush piles are sticking out of the water. There's one in a 5-gallon bucket with some concrete laying over on the shore, half in and half out of the water. Here's a couple of more that are actually still submerged in the water, sitting upright, and they sit about 6 or 7 feet off the floor of the lake. My buddy who guides here, Dustin Holmes, has created all these brush piles and marked them with waypoints. He gave us a few of those, told us where they are. It's a great place. I'm going to put a couple in the live well. We'll throw them back later, but I don't want them to spook the school.
Hey, we all know how good the fishing can be in Oklahoma's bigger lakes like Grand, Hudson, Fort Gibson, Keystone, Lake Eufaula. But the fishing in the river system below those dams can be really good too and serve up a variety of different species. Okmulgee's Mark Baldridge took his airboat and fishing buddies Mike Taylor and Steve Higgins to the Canadian River below Lake Eufaula recently and found everything just right. Light river flow, and they were able to start fishing right there below the dam and started catching a variety of species immediately, including stripers, white bass, largemouth, spotted bass, crappie, walleye, and saugeye. From there, they worked their way on down the river. Now, using that airboat gave them access to a lot of pools that you probably couldn't get to otherwise because there's so much skinny water in that river system. Now, their best luck came for topwater action on a whopper plopper, catching some stripers and largemouth, but Mike said throughout the day their best producers were the Gina Rue Rally Grub and Crystal Shad and the Bobby Garland Slab Hunter Minnow in Monkey Milk. Now, those are good clear water colors, and that water was super clear. Caught all kinds of different fish throughout the day in the rivers in Oklahoma where you can catch them, but you can't catch them if you don't go.
Having to just finesse this thing across the top of these brush piles, keep from getting snagged. There's one. All right, there's another bite. Oh, that's a good one. Good one right there. I better slide a net under that one, just so I'll be sure and get him in the boat. Got him. All right, look at that. That's one of these good Greeson Lake big ones right there. Look how deep he got that bait in his mouth. Man, when they decide to eat it, they're just eating it and sucking it all the way down inside their mouth. Look at that big old dude. That's what I came to Arkansas for right there. I'm gonna stick that one in the live well again. We're sticking them in there to keep them from running back in there and spooking the school, which they will do. But I wanna stick him right in the net here just for a second because I wanna show you the technique that I'm using to finesse these fish out of these brush piles. So this is my new Lowrance live sight unit. And I'm scanning, I'm finding the brush. So I know that that brush pile is at about the 11 o'clock position off the bow of my boat. And it's about 20 feet out there. So what I'm doing is just making a cast about 25 or 30 feet out there, holding that rod high at about the 11 o'clock position, 11 or 12, and then I'm letting it fall about 10 or 15 seconds, which gets that little 16th ounce jig head just down over the top of that brush. And then I'm just gently swimming it along. I'm lifting that rod tip, letting it swim, turning that reel handle, letting it go back, gently swimming it up, 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 up. Hold it steady, let it fall. Take up the slack, drop your rod, and I'm just pulling it across that brush. If you just let it go all the way to the bottom, it's gonna fall right in the brush pile. It's gonna get snagged every single cast. How hungry a crappie that is right there. Look where my jig is down there. It's way down in the back of his throat. He pulled my rod tip down. Wow, I made a long cast out over that brush pile. But you look at where he sucked that jig down too. I'll show you this. That's a hungry crappie, and he broke my line right there, but I want to show you how hungry a crappie that is right there. Look where my jig is down there. It's way down in the back of his throat. Well, welcome back everybody. We're still out here catching us some crappie. Bobby Garland baby shad, my all-time favorite crappie bait on Greeson Lake in Arkansas. And let me tell you, I'm doing this with a new technology that's just out on the market just in the last year, actually less than that. I'm gonna put this fish in the live well real quick because I'll explain to you that a lot of times I'm not gonna keep these fish, I'm gonna wind up releasing them. But if you turn them right back in there in your brush pile fishing, a lot of times that fish will swim back in the brush pile and he's all upset and excited and he'll spook all the rest of the fish, especially when they're finicky like these crappie here at Greeson are. So I'm gonna stick them in the live well real quick. As I mentioned, I'm using the new live sight technology from Lowrance. By the way, that's what that fish did to me right there. This is a new scanning technology that uses a transducer that shoots out horizontally through the water column sideways, and it lets you scan the water to see what's out there. So what I've done is I've scanned sideways and found this brush pile. This is a brush pile that Dustin Holmes and some of his guide friends sunk, and you can actually see it right there on the right side of your screen. It's out there about, I don't know, 30 feet, something like that, which is perfect. And you can actually occasionally see fish swimming around it. And so what I'm doing is just taking this jig and I'm casting it out past the top of the brush pile and slowly reeling that bait right across the top of the brush. And I can actually see my bait on the live sight unit. Let me show you what my little Bobby Garland bait on my Moglo jig head looks like. You can see it right in here coming back toward the boat. The boat's on the left side of the screen, so you can literally see the brush, see the fish, see your lure, and at times you can even see the fish swim over and bite your lure. It's a pretty phenomenal technology. It's called Live Sight. It's made by Lowrance. Video game fishing right here.
Hey friends, Captain Kevin Broussard here with your Fox Sports Louisiana Outdoor Report, coming to you from Cajun Paradise Charters right here on Calcasieu Lake. We're going to start off on the freshwater scene. Tell you what, got some good reports from Caddo Lake. Lots of big bass, starting to move shallow. Tell you what, 10-inch old monster worms, 3 to 5 feet of water seems to be the key there. On the saltwater scene, we're in a fall pattern all along the Louisiana coast. Venice is hot right now, lots of speckled trout and lots of redfish. Talked to Bill Lake in Houma, same thing, lots of redfish. He's catching them on crabs and shrimp in your deeper bends and your bayous. Right here on Lake Calcasieu, lots of birds working, school speckled trout. Redfish are starting to show up shallow in the marshes and also at the Gulf jetties on crabs and shrimp. For Old Cajun Phil, Captain Kevin Broussard saying happy fishing, may God bless, and we'll see you next week.
Hi folks, this week's Lone Star Lakes is brought to you once again by the good folks at McKenna Quinn. Handmade, made in Texas, made to last, elegant outdoor women's hunting and fishing apparel. Now this week we're going to start on Lake Bridgeport, where they have a fantastic hybrid bite going on. You'll need to fire up your electronics, cruise the main lake, and look for the humps. You're looking somewhere between 20 and 30 feet deep, where the hump will top out and show some bait fish. Use both 1/2 ounce and 1 ounce to get the right fall rate. And use your chartreuses, whites, and nickels to see which color they prefer. Now, over at Eagle Mountain, the blue cat bite is turning on, and those fish are moving shallow. You'll want to start somewhere around 8 feet and move shallower if you don't connect with the fish. Use your live bait or your cut fresh bait to catch these blue cats. As the winter progresses, they will continue to move shallower and shallower following the shad. So keep that in mind if you don't connect at first. That's this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you once again by McKenna Quinn, elegant outdoor women's apparel. Be sure and check us out on Facebook, Lone Star Lakes.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Mercury, Go Boldly. Lowrance, America's #1 fish finder. Balls Out, made in the USA. Heavy duty mounts for your fish finders.
Jumping crappie. These are some jumping crappie, boy. They are some feisty. Okay, there's another fat one for you. There's one coming up beside the boat. There we go. Okay. There's a Greeson Lake crappie for you right there. Well, let me explain a couple of things. By the way, welcome back to Greeson Lake, Arkansas. Doing a little crappie fishing for this week's episode. Favorite thing to do. Fairly light spinning tackle. Little small crappie jig swinging back and forth right there. I'll show all that gear to you at the end of the show. One of the things that I've learned in the 2 trips that I've been here to Greeson is that the crappie here are pretty finicky. You know, I'm used to crappie back in Texas where I live, that you can just get up on top of a brush pile and fish vertically straight down in it, right over the top of it, drop your jig straight down and shake it, and the fish will bite it. But here, you've got to be a little more stealthy than that. You've got to back off the brush and make cast and work it over the top of the brush piles. If you get right over the top of them, just the waves lapping against your boat and the noise in your boat will spook the fish off. And Dustin Holmes, our guide here, told me exactly that. And he said a lot of times when they spook off, they won't go far. They'll just move 50 or 60 feet off to the side. You can still cast around and catch some, but they'll move off the brush pile. So you got to be a little more careful here. So what we've done is we've located a brush pile, and it's about, I'm looking at my live site right now, and it's about 30 feet straight to the side of my boat. And I'm just making long casts and working that jig right across the top of that brush pile with my little Bobby Garland bait, across the top, trying not to get snagged on it and working it down the sides. They mill around the outsides of the brush as well, especially when the sun's low in the sky. Darker conditions, they'll mill around the edge. The sun gets straight up overhead, they'll tend to bury up in the brush, and then it becomes a lot more difficult.
Hey folks, Captain Greg Varm here for this week's Fox Southwest Outdoors Report. Hey, let's start this week's report down south at Port Mansfield. Hey, Captain Wayne Davis checked in with me today, and he says the tides are still real high, but that should be changing soon with the approaching cool fronts we're expecting. Hey, Captain Wayne says that action for both specks and redfish are in the back bays, near shorelines, and very shallow water. Throw your soft plastic K-Wigglers on a light 1/16 ounce lead head. Captain Wayne said the willowtails have been smoking the fish lately. Now the flounder bite, hey, it's been very strong near the east cut using 4-inch paddle tails. Now let's move up to Baffin Bay. Captain Chris Elliott is my go-to guy on Baffin, and he says the extreme high tides has the fish scattered. Captain Chris told me this morning that he is adjusting to the high water and is finding solid specks and redfish on the drains that normally are dry, but the high water has the fish chasing the bait that is trying to hide in these areas. Hey, soft plastics are working best for Captain Chris, especially the K-Wiggler in the Mansfield Margarita and the Laguna Flodge color patterns. Hey, remember, if you want to fish inshore or offshore or flounder gig, Freeport and Galveston, give me a call, check out our websites. I'm Captain Greg Varm. I'll see you next time.
There's another bite. Got him. Yeah. Jumping crappie. These are some jumping crappie, boy. They are some feisty, hot dudes, and every one of them the same size. Okay, there's another fat one for you. Hey, I want to mention something to you here. If you've never been to this part of Arkansas, you would just not believe how beautiful it is. It is an unbelievable place. You've got the diamond mines down here, that park you can go to. You've got all kinds of hiking trails, camping spots, beautiful lakes, great fishing, great skiing. Just a fantastic place to bring your family. And I want to mention two things. One, if you want a great place to stay, the Swaha Marina and Lodge is right down by the dam. That's the cabins we're staying in, and I'll show you some of the shots of some of the cabins, some of the lodges. They can accommodate big groups, full marina, restaurant, store, everything you could want, all in one place at the Swaha Marina and Lodging. And then Dustin Holmes is your guide. If you want to book a guide trip here and come out and have him put you right on these brush piles and right on some of these crappie like this one, then contact Dustin Holmes. The contact information you see on your screen, we'll give it to you one more time in case you don't have something to write with at the end of the show. This one goes in the live well, and we've had a great day.
You can always watch our latest episode on the front page of our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com. Catch up on past episodes and learn about fishing techniques and new gear at our how-to page. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter for new fishing videos every day. Simply search for Fox Sports Outdoors and click the like button on Facebook and the follow button on Twitter. And watch a new episode every week on any device by downloading the free Waypoint TV app on your phone, tablet, computer, or smart TV. Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Gulf Shores and Orange Beach. Request our free 2019 fishing guide at orangebeach.com. Lose, feel the difference. Gene LaRue and Bobby Garland, the best in bass and crappie lures, heads to tails. Glacier Glove, stay outdoors longer with our gloves, hats, and shades.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for the Ask the Pro segment, where viewers get expert insights from professional insiders. Ron wants to know, what is one feature in fish finders that you rely on the most? For an answer, we asked MLF angler and 2016 Bass Master Classic champion, Edwin Evers.
You know, you think about sonar, you think about side imaging, the down scan, but without a doubt it would have to be my Lowrance. You know, my Lowrance would be the mapping, the chart, and that has so many things involved in it. You know, so many times you're fishing an event and you see something shallow and I need to put a tree symbol on that laydown that's just underneath the water, or I see a rock or a stump, or I notice on my contours on the map of the Lowrance, you know, I go out around a point with an avionics chip that's in it, you know, or the other maps that come along with it. So that to me you take that away, then I'm completely lost. All I know is the depth.
Thank you, Edwin. If you have something to ask one of the pros, simply visit our website and follow the Ask the Pro link to submit your question. Now let's take a look at this week's Big Catch winner.
We are back at the boat ramp at the SWAHA Marina and Lodge, and I want to show you just a few of these good crappie that we caught today. This is just a few of what we caught. We caught more, but those are some good quality crappie right here. Just wanted to show you what a couple of those look like. But it's time right now for this week's winner in the Big Catch of the Week contest. She is Marina Anino of Austin, Texas, showing a 12-pound largemouth bass she caught at Lady Bird Lake in Central Texas. If you'd like a chance to have your big fish and yourself shown on television, just go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/Fox Sports Outdoors. Go back to last Tuesday's post. It's about the Big Catch of the Week. Follow the instructions, post your picture there, give us the details about the catch, and you might be seen on television. Next up, here's some of the gear that you'll need if you want to catch some of these crappie like we caught here on Greeson Lake in Arkansas. And first of all, I want to show you the Lowrance live sight transducer. That's the transducer there on the bottom. I've actually got it rigged up to a Fishing Specialties telescoping pole. Mounts to a bracket that goes in your boat, and you simply drop it in the slot. Then it's got a handle, and you can point that handle any direction, and you can scan for those brush piles like we did on this week's show. As far as the rod and reel goes, this is my new favorite crappie rod and reel. It's the Wally Marshall Speed Shooter rod and reel by Luz. It's actually made to shoot underneath docks, but I've adopted it as my all-around go-to crappie rod. And I had it rigged up with about 6-pound test fluorocarbon line. You need that in this clear water. As far as the bait is concerned, use that little light jig head. That's a Bobby Garland 1/16 ounce jig head, and we had 2 plastic baits that worked very well. One is the Bobby Garland Baby Shad, that's the one on the jig head, and then the other one is the Bobby Garland Pile Diver. Again, both of these baits were great to swim across the top of the brush piles. I really enjoyed seeing the remake of the classic movie The Lion King, and in a very poignant moment, the old monkey Rafiki is talking to the young Simba about his dad Mufasa, the Lion King, and he says, "Remember who you are." So many of us struggle with our identity. It affects everything, our jobs, our relationships, even what we eat and drink. Many of us have the problem that we don't remember who we are. We are created by God in His image, and we are important and valuable to Him. That's who we are. I hope you enjoyed our trip here to Greeson Lake, north of Murfreesboro, Arkansas. One more time, here's the contact information if you'd like to come here, beginning with the contact for Dustin Holmes. He's the fishing guide. He's got a couple of boats. He can accommodate your small party or large. And here's the information for SWAHA Marina and Lodge. Great place to stay. We stayed in a little place called the Tree House here, but they've got lots of cabins, small ones, big ones for a big party, a big family, a big corporate outing. This is a great place to come, and you would enjoy the crappie fishing here like we did today. Thanks for joining us. Till next week, I'm Barry Stokes. Be safe, have fun. Bye-bye, y'all.